That was then.
That was then, and I'm happy you made it clear that
Yes.
was then. Part of depression, you know, that we call through personality. Personality. People probably just look at you, you know, that's like you said, you know, you're not approachable, and they just shy away from you. Then you believe that the whole world is against you. Because, you know, just like you said, that could be a part. But sometimes people don't really take time to know or learn or understand you.
Right.
Is that they just take one look at you and they don't like you.
Yes.
And by the time, there's no reason. If you ask, why don't you like Annalisa? Oh, I just don't like her. You understand what I'm saying? And this mouth, you know, some have it big, some have it small, but the tongue inside the head, the Bible speaks about the tongue in James. And, you know, but when you went through, and I use went through all of that situation and all that you've been through, did you talk to anyone at all? Your husband, because obviously you got married after all of that. You had your mom, you know, your in-laws. Did you really discuss anything with them?
It depends on the specific. It depended on the specific situation, because not everything I would share with everybody, and spiritual brothers and sisters that I would speak to, because I think for persons who are experiencing depression or any other, I think it is important for you to have that safe space, that person who you know that you can trust to share with. Because yes, of course we can talk to God and we know that it's not going anywhere else. But it's good when you can have that face-to-face, one-on-one interaction with somebody who is not only just a listening ear. There are times when you would need somebody to just be a listening ear, but persons who might have experienced the thing that you are experiencing, so they would be able to share valuable information with you and to guide you. So I was very selective in the persons that I confided in about certain things to ensure that it did not go anywhere else. And I wouldn't want to speak to somebody who has no clue what I'm talking about, because they would just be a listening ear.
Right, that makes a lot of sense. Now, something very, very important. When one is going through depression, especially as a married person, for sure, if you have a husband or a wife who's going through that, then your spouse doesn't understand what you're going through, it's a problem. Don't you think so? Right? So therefore, I think, you know, support, emotional, moral support is key. Very, very important. This is very, very important. Now, you know me already. I have to rub this in. How does a husband cope when his wife is going through the pressure? Because one thing for real though, reality is that when you're going through that, that's one of the lowest points in your life. All your emotions, your feelings, everything is numb. You're dead. It's just like you didn't want to see yourself. You don't even bother to like yourself anymore at that time. How do you how do you cope in that aspect when you come on to romance? How does it happen? You don't have to answer, because I want to say there are a lot of people going to be watching this clip. Yeah. I don't want to say to those people out there, if you are going through depression and it reaches a point where you can no longer be sexually engaged with your partner, then that's very, very serious. No, one thing I want to let you all know, for those wives who are out there, you listening or you're watching this, if your husband is going through anything like that, obviously, you know, he's down. He'll probably be down for a moment. You know, his mind is far off, Mrs. Dallas. He might not want to be near to you. He don't want to be near to the kid. He don't want to be bothered. He just want to lock himself away. Therefore, everything on his body do what? Answer for me. Shut down. You understand? Yeah. Now, wives, I'm going to say this to you. Work with your husband. Help him to deal with this issue. A lot of men doesn't like to talk.
True.
A lot of men, it doesn't matter what they're going through. It's abuse. Honey, sweetheart, hubby, babe, whatever you call it. Whatever. TJ, BJ, JJJ. What's happening? Nothing. I'm all right. Do you agree with me?
I agree, and you know that they are not okay because women, we know.
Yes.
We always know.
You know.
So we are just giving them the opportunity to share with us, going to them for them to share with us. But sometimes we have to pull it out of them or something. But really and truly, men don't really talk like that.
And to be honest, you know, I feel bad for a lot of men because they are more tougher than us. Some of them. You have some men who are very soft. They will open up, you know. But a lot of men don't talk, and they, you know, when men go through depression, it is very bad. It is very bad because, you know, sometimes, especially if they you know, lost their job, there's no income to provide for home, and, you know, they just go down. And, you know, they withdraw and all of that, and you ask them, what's going on? Nothing. Yes, something is wrong. But, you know, at the end of the day, we have to remember that, you know, there are situations that we go through in life. We just can't help. But one thing we must remember, that when it comes to depression, it's just a mood disorder. There's stuff that can help, you know. You have people care about you. You have people who decide, and listen, I am not going to leave you alone. We're going to go through this together. But there are some things that happen to people in life that they don't want to talk about it. What if you're living out? I don't want to go there. What if you're home? When you come on to rape, you see, that's something that I don't want to touch, because that's a whole different situation. What if you were raped by your dad and get pregnant? You have that to live it for the rest of your life. I've seen people taking it now to social media and start talking all kind of things. Some people say it's a lie, some people can't believe. But there are things that you have that's buried inside of you, you know, for years. And you don't even know who to talk to about it. You can't tell your family members because they're going to look down on you. You can't tell your friend because they're going to spread it. You can't tell your pastor because he's going to preach about it. You don't want to talk to your own self. Come on, let me hear Mrs. Dallas. Am I wrong?
You are so right. And I've had a lot of persons come to me that have situations that are similar, and they're afraid to share to their pastors or to their friends for the same reasons that you mentioned. And even the men, as you mentioned earlier, society, the way that society views men, it makes them want to be tough even when they are hurting. So they will not open up because society is going to say that he's soft, if he ball, or if he goes to counseling, he's a weakling.
He's a whip.
Right?
You understand? But on that note, let me ask you this very important question. I mean, I don't want to stray, but let me ask you this, Mr. Dallas. Do you honestly think that a woman can rape a man?
I think I have to think about that one.
No, because I ask you. You know why I ask you that question? Men are being raped. And just as you say, talk about society, that's the reason I asked you the question. If you make a report, they're going to laugh at you.
But it's a real thing.
This is not a joke. I'm smiling at this. I'm smiling, but this is serious. You know, men have been raped and they talk about it and then they ask, who raped you? Show me that woman. Tell me that woman who raped you so I could go even sit right where she is. You understand what I'm saying? But listen, this is not a joke. This is serious.
Yes.
You understand? And, you know, there are... Come here, somebody. Come here, somebody. Somebody who's watching this, come here. Come right here tomorrow. Let me ask you a question. Have you been in a situation where you just have some low moods and just feel very, very sad every day? You know, feeling just helpless and hopeless? What about your self-esteem? You have this low self-esteem all of a sudden, you don't even know what to do with yourself. And Mrs. Dallas, this one here, because you've been through it, you're just very careful Like you just want to cry at times and don't even know what you're crying about. You have that experience?
Yes, I have.
Come here, I'm talking to someone. Let me ask you. Have you, first of all, let me ask you, how do you feel these days? I'm speaking to someone. Yes, I'm talking to you. How are you feeling? How have you been feeling for the past month or 2 months? Are you happy? Hmm? What about your tolerance level? You just don't want to be bothered with that in yourself. Hmm? You use a sheet to put over your mirror because you don't even want to see yourself anymore. Talk to me. You get up in the mornings, the afternoon, in the evening, at nighttime, you can't even make any decision for yourself. You don't even know if it's morning, if it's evening, and you don't know nothing anymore. Have you had this feeling? What's going on with you? You reach a point in your life where you're really not getting no form of enjoyment out of life. And it's not by choice. What's going on? You wake up in the mornings, in the afternoon, evening, whatever time, from day to day, you feel very, very worried and very anxious. You're having suicidal thoughts from the very moment you wake up and start saying to yourself, I can't be bothered. I can't be bothered. I don't know. You don't know nothing anymore. And that's not by choice. Everything starts turning against you. Your favorite meal, to be honest. You're unwell and you don't know what is happening to you. You're reserved, you're withdrawn. What's wrong? What's happening? Have you really sit and analyze yourself, your situation, and to say to yourself, what is wrong with me? What is going on? Or you just tell yourself nothing is wrong? You used to wake up in the mornings and you used to, look in the mirror, put yourself together, put on you talk about wig. Forget about, don't even call me name in your mouth. Yes, leave it alone. And then all of a sudden, you don't want to go to work. You snap, you start snapping at everyone. What's wrong? Mrs. Dallas, there's a lot of things that is happening to people. And they are so afraid. You see that thing called abuse? Mental abuse, physical, emotional. You're being controlled. Who do you talk to? Who do you talk to when these things are happening? Who do you talk to when you go on your work and even before you collect your pay, your husband is stretching? Or did I say husband is stretching hand? But wife stretching hands. No.
They exist.
They exist.
They exist.
You understand what I'm saying? They cannot wait until Friday. They start reminding you from Thursday evening. And wives, you out there stretching your arms too. You're stressing the man. They have wives that stress the man. Baby mother, the girlfriend, they start counting on your pay before the end of the day before you pay. Every time you work, they remind you, oh, you have to do this, you have to do that. These things, you're stressed out. It's like you don't even know what to do with yourself. Not only that, you feel like you are alone in doing everything. How can you be married? How can you have a partner, but yet you're alone doing everything? And you're stressing someone out. These are the things that I'm talking about. I have to go to work. I have to take care of the house, grocery, food, take care of the babies, take care of you. How is that so? The question today is, when you're going through depression, who do you talk to? How do you deal with it? Are you willing and ready to get help? And let me ask the people around you this question. When you have someone around you that's going through depression, how do you deal with them? Do you brush them off? Do you criticize them? Do you blame them? Do you talk bad about them? Do you ignore them? how do you help? Now, Mrs. Dallas, let me ask you this question. When did you know it was your breaking point? I just want you to wrap up for me. I want you to talk to the viewers. When it was your breaking point, it was time for you to get help. After getting help and overcame your depression, how you felt?
Since I've had a child, and as I mentioned earlier, when I had to send him away, because anybody who knows me knows nothing at all comes between me and my son. And there's nothing that I wouldn't do for him. So that day, when I found myself in that state where I realized and I knew that I wouldn't be able to tend to him, to play with him, to make him smile like I usually do, that was the day I realized this was getting out of hand. And even now, when I look back, and I was like, wow, I'm really in a dark place where I had to send my child away. And I've said it to my husband and my mom that I never ever want to get back to that place, because my child is my whole heart. So that is when I really noticed that this was really taking a toll on me. That was my breaking point. That was the breaking point for me. That's when I said, this something needs to happen, something needs to be done. And I availed myself to counseling. I went to different counselors, and I spoke to people and spiritual persons as well. So I got the help that I needed, and all of them were backed by the manual that I use, which is the Bible. So that is when I decided that enough was enough, and I didn't want it to go any further than that.
Thank you so much. For anyone out there who's listening to us right now, I want to remind you that mental health is just as essential as physical health. Normalizing, the conversation about mental health, empower people to talk and get the help that they need. Because leaving them alone, and it's people say it's not going to cut it, right? You have to encourage, you have to be there, and if you're out there going through depression, you're listening to me, you're listening. I want to tell you this thing. Get help, because you have to realize and understand also that mental disorders are actual, quite common, and there is treatment that can help you recover. The stigma, however, often prevents people from seeking treatment, which can isolate them and even make their condition and their situation worse. They're afraid to speak. They're afraid to go. First of all, if someone's going through depression and you say, you need counseling, the first thing they're going to say, oh, they think I'm mad. This has nothing to do with madness. I want to remind you. And for you out there, it doesn't matter your situation. It doesn't matter your story. We all have one. We all have situations. We all have stories. Regardless of where you are right now in life, you might be at the peak, at the bottom. You might be depressed, going through all kinds of stories, all kinds of situations, marriage, and impotence. It's so much. I want to remind you that you're not alone. There is help out there for you. Get a hold of yourself. Sometimes it's very, very hard. It's easier said than done. Do you think that? It is easier. Oh, you're going to say, oh yeah, Dr. Nikki, she just talking. I have my situations also. But are we going to let them weigh us down? It's again, I repeat myself, it is easier said than done. So the only thing I can do is encourage you. Pick yourself up. Dust yourself off. It doesn't matter how many times you failed in life, try. Sometimes it's not your fault. And one thing I want to say to you, don't you ever take the blame for other people's fault. Because you're going to start beating yourself. because of what other people has done to you or is doing to you, what people say about you, what people said about you, what they're still saying about you. And you, oh, I take the blame, it's my fault. No, it's not your fault. I want to encourage you today. Get help, seek help, talk to someone, and remember one thing, that you take care of your mental health today because it will help you tomorrow. Pick yourself up. Take a shower. That shower that you've been missing for 2 weeks. If you have to go in the bathroom and then just soak, take a whole bar of soap or a whole bar of body wash and just wash from your head to your toe. Stand in the mirror, look at yourself and say, listen, this is me. I deserve the best. I deserve to be happy. And if you make a mistake, mistakes can be corrected. Just be true to yourself. Search yourself, look into yourself. And remember one thing, that you take care of your mental health today because it will help you tomorrow. Just tell yourself, listen, I can do better. So Mrs. Dallas, I want to say to you, listen, it was nice having you here. It was nice having you here. We are so comfortable. Girl, you ain't got no shoes on. I ain't got no shoes on. We're just sitting up in here, just having a whole good time.
Definitely.
Ain't no need to be uptight. We comfortable.
Yes.
You think I'm lying? I can't show you, man. I don't have no shoes on. Let me see. Do you have shoes on, Mrs. Dallas? No. And right behind this desk, I don't have no shoes on. We're just comfortable, just having a dialogue, just reasoning about reality, life. Putting something and bringing something to you that is happening. We're smiling and we're laughing, but we know someone is out there who's hurting right now, and this is not a joke. If you're having any issues or any problem, you can hit me up. The healing studio is there. The therapy hub is there. Your specialist, Dr. Nick, is here to help you. And we will walk you right through your journey back to happiness. Until next time, take care of yourself and each other.